Hi guys, and welcome to the Gin and Tonic Show. We help Muslims and non-Muslims alike to understand and handle Islam in the 21st century. We consider ourselves to be decent human beings, so we condemn categorically any abuse, oppression, misogyny, slavery, violence, anything like that. We do embrace, however, free speech and also criticism, even if it is directed at us, if it is factual and constructive criticism. We focus on Islam exclusively. So if you're curious about anything Islam, you've come to the right place. Now, we don't attack, which is aggressive, destructive, and antagonistic, neither Islam nor Muslims. We ask questions and show facts. We refute false claims and present the reality of Islam, which is political Islam. We inspect, investigate, research, analyze, and then report and critique on Islam, the ideology, not the people. Now, the live stream goes to YouTube and Facebook, and there are three ways that you can participate in this. Either you join us in the live written chat, you can join the panel during the live show, or later on watch and comment the archive. And anyone can join to comment, critique, contribute, or question. This is not a Dawa channel with censorship. Don't go to Patreon, don't go to PayPal. Everything here is free. The way we work is usually we have some news, some crazy comments, a segment where we go and read the Quran, and then a discussion on the theme of the month, followed by integrating the live chat, ending with a hadith of the week. If this is not enough Islam for you, there's still the Discord channel where you can discuss with us without anything being recorded. See you later and enjoy the Gin and Tonic Show.
That's a beautiful intro.
We are back, everybody. This time it's Nick and myself, Moose, the younger boys of the the Gin and Tonic Show. Usually we don't have Mr. Robs and Stops this time because they're taking a little bit of a break, so they've handed over the reins to us, the strapping young lads.
Yeah, you got the copier and the post-it here, so we're pretty much going to hell.
Well, again, as long as someone actually messaged to me, that your muscles will not be big enough to fight Jibreel on the day of judgment. I'm like, you know what? Bring it on, Jibreel.
Yeah, I wonder how much Jibrio's deadlifting and what martial arts he knows.
I don't know. I think all he knows is how to fly, but it's quite advantageous if you think about it, like his flying abilities. Because now my martial arts professional wrestling experience becomes mute and useless, assuming that this thing exists.
Oh, you just gotta get on one of those flying horses that Muhammad flew on.
Well, it was kind of a mule and a donkey. It was a middle of a mule and a donkey, according to Bukhari. So, that's what it was in the middle of. So it's flying, it's a mule, and it was weird. It was a weird description of the creature, and it has a woman's head too, apparently.
Well, I don't. That's kind of like, I don't know if it's good for donkey or good for the human, or bad for the donkey, because humans are women are less than a donkey in Islam.
Okay, so here it is. PO Channel states that nope, it was a woman with a horse body. Yep, that's. But it was more like the horse was the size of a mule and a donkey. That's how it's described in Sahih al-Bukhari and the story of the ascent to heaven. So we'll actually go over that if you would like to. Yes, hey everyone, welcome back. Hey everyone. So we have an exciting show for you. I think Nick, you had something for us to go over.
Yeah, so first let's do the I don't know what order Stops or Rob wanted to do, but
Yeah,
today I
let's
think we
get
can
the let's get the comedic stuff out first. And I wanted to talk about jizya in Islam specifically. But yes, you had something to show, and we're gonna
yeah.
look into that.
So yeah, this is going to be for crazy comments. So yeah, basically I have this video from so it's a 1 minute long video for anti-Muslims or ex-Muslims from our favorite friend
Momo, Mo hijab.
Mohijab.
Oh my
And
goodness.
I think it's great to have watch this 1 minute video before we actually read the comments on it, just for context.
All right, all right.
It has subtitles for those who have issues with audio
Okay.
as well.
On Twitter, Instagram, many of times I have come across comments like, I left Islam because I wanted to leave Islam. I left Islam because Islam was not right for me. I left Islam because of this reason and that reason and this reason. But the reality is, you did not leave Islam.
Yeah, you're still Muslim.
Yeah. Oh.
Get that concept out of your brain.
You
You
go,
know
girl.
why? Because Iman is a condition of the heart, and it
Preach.
is Allah who gives this light to whomever He wants. Allah took this light from you because man like you don't deserve it.
Wait, hang on. Did he forget the women again?
Well, women don't count anyways, right?
Because they're deficient in intelligence. And also, look at that music, the background music. Like, this is the kind of music you would consume some cannabis on and just listen to it. It's like,
So yeah, like it's like Pio said, if you leave Islam, you are not an apostate because
yeah, it's so bizarre. Like, first you have an apostasy law. Uh, then you have, what do you call it? But then you say you did not leave Islam. Okay, so who did? And the reason he's like, Iman is the condition of the heart. So basically, you don't have to think. You just have to feel, believe. You know what I mean, Nick?
yeah.
Do you feel it? Do you feel the presence of the Lord?
I do. So yeah, I'm just trying to get these comments because the comments are more ridiculous, and I
Okay,
think
let's see the comments.
all right. So if
Alright.
I do this and I do this, share, so you guys can see some of the stuff, right? So
Okay, can you zoom it in? Can you zoom in for us to see?
let me see if I go here and I
Yeah.
zoom to 50. Oh, that's too much. You guys can't see. So yeah, here. This is the max I can go.
Oh wow. Okay. I can read this. We don't call them ex-Muslims. Instead, we call them replaced Muslims. For every what? What the heck did he say? Every all that leaves Islam, there will be many. Every Ali that leaves Islam, there will be many. Oh, Ali!
Yeah, like Ali Dava.
Oh my God! For many Ali, there will be many Johns to replace him. For every Fatima that leaves Islam, there will be Jennifers to really replace her. My goodness, he could
Yeah,
only pick the Western names. Look at the mentality. They only pick the Western names. They
yeah, and
forget
he's
any the Hindu names or Buddhist names. Or it's
yeah,
and also there's some what do you call it, Eastern names like Mandarin names, and he completely forgot they exist, but instead we prefer Jennifers and Johns.
yeah, and I think he's got like a Quran quote here as well.
Oh, and he also has, it's definitely a huge dig on Shia as well,
Yeah,
because generally what the accusation against apostates is that, oh, they were Shia Muslim, or they were they're just Shia Muslim in disguise, or are they used to be Shia Muslim or Ismaili Muslim? And Ali and Fatima are basically the most important figures in Shia Islam, right? Ali being the successor and son-in-law of Muhammad, and Fatima being his daughter. And of course, he's gonna put a quote, the most hateful quote: "Oh, believers, whoever abandons their faith, Allah will replace them with others." Oh, I read this one. They will humble the believers and firm towards disbelievers, struggling on the way. I love how he ignores the same chapter includes how you cannot be friends with Jews and Christians because they are friends of each other. So chapter 5, verse 51. So just 3 verses before that. So I love how not only he basically very, it's cherry picked, but forgets the fact that, you can't be friends with Christians and Jews, yet he wants Jennifers and Johns to replace, Ali's and Fatimas. It's fascinating, I think.
Yeah, and my problem is with this. So if he's all bountiful, all knowing, and such, why is he punishing people he knows, or why is he expecting people he knows will not believe him to believe him, and then punishing them that they don't?
And not only that, like he makes them, be born in a Muslim family,
Yeah.
but then, what do you call it? He sets their heart, like it's Allah who's actually, playing with the hearts. Like he sets a seal upon the hearts in some of the Quranic verses that he mentions. But yeah, let's read the other comments as well. If individual learns to drive a car, that person will never forget it unless any mental mishap takes place. Similarly, oh dear Lord, who truly learned and understood Islam will never leave it. Alhamdulillah. He's like, Alhamdulillah. And heart.
Isn't what gets me is the name, and then he has a
Yeah.
picture of the Buddha.
Yeah, it's like Rahul Kumar Rathod, and has the picture of a Buddha, and then it's like, it's like driving, it's similar to driving a car. All right, let's see a Muslim name. Umar Khan, of course, is a very Pakistani name. I was also a Muslim, but after watching this, I'm proud Muslim. What the hell is this? Or did he just write a C in the place of the D?
Oh no, it's a D.
Oh, okay. I think it's my screen.
I think I caught my dyslexia.
Yeah, probably.
And
I hate this.
So was he not a proud Muslim before? Was he like?
Yeah, he was embarrassed to be a Muslim before that. He's extremely embarrassed to be a Muslim. All right, this is a anime picture. I'm a revert for 3 years now in the USA. First Muslim in my family, Alhamdulillah. Boy, you're not a revert, you're a convert. I hate this term when they use I reverted to Islam, but no, you converted.
I think the logic behind this, because I was taught by the great guru, the powerful sage Zakir Naik, that people are born Muslim,
right?
But then they leave it after puberty, and then they revert back.
They leave it after puberty. What kind of logic is that? It's so weird. All right, this is really powerful. May Allah protect us from shirk. Oh my God! And by the way,
is that like an Islamic shrink?
Yeah. It's like it's a term in Islamic ideology, which means idol worship, right?
Yeah.
Or acknowledging other gods besides Allah. So that's the example of shirk. So that's why that's the term. If they use the term shirk, that means that yes, it's denying the oneness of Allah, the Islamic God specifically. So Christians are committing shirk already.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
But isn't Allah just Yahweh in Arabic?
Oh no, that's Allah is God in Yahweh. The Quran doesn't use the term Yahweh, right?
Yeah, no, I mean like Yahweh is like probably like the older language version of.
Because
God,
Yeah,
and then
it's the
that it's
Hebrew.
called it's the Hebrew word for God, and then if you translate that word into Arabic, it's Allah.
No, I think it's the because Yahweh was a specific God, right? And I think the
Okay.
original term is Elohim or Al Ilaha, Elohim.
Yeah.
So El from El it became Allah, El Al Ilah. So that was the derivative of that ancient Hebrew word, and then it became Allah. So that's the origin of the Hebrew origin of the term Allah. And then Yahweh was a separate name, specific name for this being. Also, Yahweh that's another topic I would love to talk on another channel. Because but then yeah, it is the origins of the Jewish, Christian, and Muslim God. Actually, we could technically discuss this in future, like the specific names
Yeah,
and
please
these
leave a
gods.
comment if you want to hear Mustafa
If
rant
you
about that.
Yeah, if you want to, I would need more research on that as well.
Yeah.
So I definitely would be, or we could talk about it on Discord as well.
Yeah.
All right. Oh my goodness, Abdullah Al-Khan, how dear. In the name of Allah, the most beneficent, all praises to unlike Allah, and the most beneficent, the most merciful. Which verse?
What what gets me is this portion here. So
Yeah, the
what
way those whom you have bestowed your and earned your anger. Oh, who is he? Who is this? This is the first ever chapter of the Quran, but he puts in brackets such as Jews and such as Christians and Jews, and says Amin at the end. The Muslim, it's like Alhamdulillah Rabb Bismillah Rahman Rahim, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, Ar Rahman Ar Rahim, Maliki Yawmiddin, only ruler. Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in, which is you alone we worship and we ask for help. Ehdina Sirat al-Mustaqim, which is the best started the way of those who guide us to the straight ways. Ehdina Sirat al-Mustaqim, Sirat al-Lazina an'amta alayhim ghayr al-maghzubin waladdallin is the last section, the way those who you've bestowed you. So he basically the very first chapter, and then even though the verse doesn't say such as Jews or such as Christians and Jews, it doesn't say that specifically, but some translators do add this, such as Jews, such as Christians. So is it like, are they really talking about Christians and Jews in
But
the
what
very
gets
past
me at the
chapter?
time is like they got the same book, they got the same prophets. Like
Hmm.
as someone who's from an outsider, like Adam is still a prophet in Islam, aka so like they still got the same essence essentially, and they're modifying the books to a certain
Yeah,
extent. It's like the difference, if you the difference in each book is probably only 10 to 15, 20% at max.
mm.
Suppose like, but in comparison to let's say the Bhagavad Gita or whatever the
There's
Christian,
the
yeah,
biblical books, right? So
yeah,
you
the
have the
Abrahamic books,
Gospels, the Torah books, which is the 5 books. Then you have
yeah,
the Kings, Judges, da 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 da. It's
yeah.
a long
So,
list.
but so when they're sitting there and like this seems more like a barbaric tribal conflict to me than like debate of ideologies.
I think so too. If anything, it's more. I think it's a general. It's like it's a summarized version of the previous books, because in some chapters they're acknowledging, like, oh, there's the gospel and the Torah, but then in others it's like they've corrupted them. So every Muslim, when they grow up, thinks that all the previous books have been corrupted and the Quran is the only true book. But here's the problem: had it not been for those books, you wouldn't even know the story of Moses, of Abraham, of Noah, Isaac,
Or Adam or
Ishmael, and
Jesus.
exactly, you wouldn't even know these stories had it not been for those books. So
Yeah.
and if anything, the Quran's not enough. Sometimes they have to expand on the Hadith as well, the Hadith collections. And yes, just to backtrack, PO channel, Yahweh was son OGL, son of El. Yeah, the Canaanite religion. Yes, it's the ancient Canaanite religion where the source is from. All this nonsense. Oh, of course. Let's read these comments. And if you turn away, he will replace you with another people, and they will not be the likes of you. Quran 47:38. It's like, a really a parent is like, "Go away! I'll adopt another kid just because."
It's like that
Like,
Russell Peters joke. Like, if I kill
yeah,
you, I'll make another one.
yeah, it's so weird. Like, oh my goodness, the kind of audience that they attract, like, and there's Haji Ahmadu Johnson. Okay, the previous one is Free Palestine. Yeah, first they're shouting Free Palestine, and then they shout like this nonsense. So
Yeah.
it's like I'm as much as sympathetic I am to the Palestinian cause. These the kind of people they attract. Oh boy, like very religious nut jobs. All praise to do I could because it's a blur. I'm seeing the word sue. So
All
sue to Allah. Due to
all
Allah,
praise.
all. Yeah.
Yeah. So all praise due to Allah Almighty.
All right, Almighty. Yeah, because it's a weird bit of a blur. I'm like, is he suing Allah? Did he misspell it? Because that's my field. That's my field, the legal field. So, easy. All praising is suing Allah. Like, are these two different entities? Again, that's my mistake, guys. Sorry, guys. It's just my reading capabilities have declined.
Yeah.
Allah.
Kind of like coronavirus. He caught my dyslexia.
It's becoming, what do you call it? Contagious. It's contagious. All right, so all praise due to Allah Almighty. Okay, He brings the living out of dead and brings the dead out of living and revives the earth after its death, and likewise. What? Okay, he's quoting the Quran, but brings the living out of the dead. Is he talking about Allah or Jesus?
If I have to guess, I'm gonna say Krishna.
Huh?
Like, I don't.
Allah seems about as fickle as Donald Trump. Yeah, he does. He does seem very, very fickle. As and yeah, I would agree. Yeah, there's the creator god in the Hindu mythology, right? Like Krishna,
Oh no, that's the creator is Brahma,
Brahma. Yes.
but in the Bhagavad Gita, I forgot the exact quote. I am God, the destroyer. I am time, destroyer of worlds, and it's the same quote that Robert Oppenheimer said when he saw the nuclear bomb
Oh
explode.
boy. Oh
So
boy.
he's like, I have become deaf. I am time, the bringer of death and the bringer of life. I am the one sole true God. And the translations are constantly changing in English, so I used to
Yeah.
know the Sanskrit version of it when I read the
Right.
Gita.
All right. All right. The next comment.
We'll
My life
do
is.
two more, and then we'll.
Yeah. We'll head down to the next section. My life is my Allah, and my Prophet Muhammad. Babah, peace be upon him. All right. Wait, hang on. So, I am proud to be a Muslim. May Allah strengthen our iman and protects us. Oh God, protects us from the Satan and enlighten our hearts with strong iman. Ameen. May Allah protects all the Muslim ummah from a difficult time. Ameen.
What gets me is like the name,
Yeah,
like super devout, but then has like a K-pop band here. Like, isn't he not supposed to listen to music?
exactly. What's up with
It's
the K-pop thing? It's so weird. All right, let's go to the last comment. This is so weird. Like, may Allah. All right, so true. I thank Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, SWTS, Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, for choosing me to be Muslim. Alhamdulillah. It's like you didn't even have a choice in this, Iram. Like, calm down, girl. Calm down.
Yeah, and she's going to hell because she's making lustful eyes and showing her forehead.
According to the Islamic ideology, indeed. All right, I think that's the enough for the comments. I think we should go to the Quran corner.
All
The
right.
the Quran. All right, Nick. Let's begin.
It's puzzling. I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like this before.
All right. So let me get that screen on.
We'll pick up where stops and the others left behind. Damn it, Nick! Can't read.
All right, so I'll read them out. So 60.
Wait,
They
can
were.
you zoom in? Can you zoom into this?
Let me make the text bigger. Tell me when you can read.
Oh boy, I cannot read any of this. I cannot read any of this. Actually, you know what? Let me try. Is it the Surah Hud, right?
Yeah.
All right, just 1 second. Surah
Is this any
Hud.
better?
Wait, let me see. Wait, one sec. Yeah, I could see this. Yes, I could see this. Perfect. Okay. Remind me next time to also save these as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you so much, Nick. Thank you so much. So this is from Surah Hud. So Surah Hud is basically Hud is a prophet in Islam.
Oh, I thought you
And
was talking about like a ancient hood.
no,
Like-
no. It's not the ancient Hud. It's the 11th chapter of the Quran, and I've supposedly visited Hud's grave too. Supposedly, either it's in Iraq or Syria, one of these two places. That's where the claim is. From that he's buried in one of those places, but again, I can't exactly verify because there's some people are buried in 4 different places. Some prophets are buried here. It's weird. All right. They were 60. They were followed by a curse. Begone, Ad, people of Hud. The Hud. Saleh was sent to Thamud to tell them the usual story. Wait. Okay, so you were talking about Hud and then switched to Saleh. Should we really abandon our long-held beliefs? Hang on, Quran. Like, what are you doing? All right. Yes, a real bow. You would not increase in me except in loss. You know what? Because this is a shortened version of the verse, right? So let me just pull up the full version of the Quran itself. Hang on. Let me just.
You can. Why don't you share it on your side?
Yes. Let me share this chapter 11, verse 60, right?
Yeah.
So chapter 11, verse 60. So we're not making this up. We are actually what do you call it? Wait, hang on. Let me just also put in the Arabic as well. The Arabic too, so that we can actually, let me just move corpus sahih. Perfect. Okay, let me just share the screen. 1 sec, guys. My apologies. Screen. Can you guys see this?
Yes, I can see this.
Okay, perfect.
Chat.
All right. So the corpus and they were followed in this world with a curse on the day of resurrection. No doubt, indeed, Ad disbelieved their Lord. So away with Ad, the people of Hud. So the people of Hud, or the folk of Hud, that is. And Arabic is وَأَتْبِعُوا فِي هَذِهِ الدُّنْيَا الْعَنَاةَ وَيَوْمِ الْقِيَامَةِ, which is the day of judgment. أَلَا إِنَّا عَادًا كَفَرُوا رَبُّهُمْ أَلَا بُعْدَ عَادٍ قَوْمِ هُودٍ. So Qawme Hudin, which means the people of the Hud, or the Hud, or the Hud as you call it. So this is the first, and then we went to the second verse, which is like, and to Thamud, their brother Saleh, he said, "Oh my people, worship Allah. Not have you any God other than Him? He produced from the earth and settled you in it. So ask forgiveness from Him, then turn in repentance to Him. Indeed, my Lord is near and all responsive." And then the following verse is, they said, "Oh Saleh, verily you were among us, in whom hope was placed before this. Do you forbid us that we worship what our forefathers worshipped? And indeed, we surely are in doubt about what you call us to it. Suspicious." Which is kind of natural. Like, they're suspicious of, like, why are you suddenly like, changing up beliefs? And then in the Arabic, wali qarib mujib. So notice in the Arabic, the 60th hud, right? So it ends with hud, but like in 61, inna rabbi qarib and mujib is the last 4 words of the Arabic in 61. And 62, there's ilyah al murib. So if anything, the sentence, there's also a rhyme structure with the Quranic verses, right? So there's a bit of a rhyme in the Arabic itself. So it's very it's nice to listen to. Allah be spitting rap, a good rap as well. And then
they be rapping in the hood.
Yeah. And so every two verses you see, 2-3 verses have some rhyming scheme, and then there's the same rhyme in the 4th 64 as well, azab and qareeb, which is the impending doom. So all right, let's read the translation of the 63. He said, "O people, O my people, do you see I am on a clear proof from my Lord, and he has given me from him a mercy. Then who can help me against if I were to disobey? So not you would increase me, but in loss." Wait, what? What is he trying to say? So, "O my people, if I am clear on proof." So what clear proof do you have? Like, what clear proof? I am clear on proof, and he has given me from him. Like, he's making the claim.
Maybe it's one of those scientific miracles.
Where's the science in this? Where's the science? And then the same, it's just rhyming here. It's like, qala yaqumu ar'ahitum inga kunta ala bainati man rabba wal attani minhu rahmatu faman yasruno minallahi inna asaitun fama taridu nani ayra takhsire takhsir. And then the last is azab and qareeb. So wayaqumu hazi. So, and oh my people, this she camel of Allah is for you a sign. So leave her to eat in the earth and do not touch her with harm, lest will seize you a punishment impending. So a she camel is a sign. Okay. So here's my evidence. Don't eat her. Let her eat. Do not touch her. Just let her eat. I'm like, how is that a sign? How is that a sign? How's a she camel? Yeah.
Unless they can do DNA testing to find Allah's presence within that camel, like how the bloody hell are they going to use it as evidence?
Yeah. Okay. The she man. So do you know hamstringer? So I'm looking at the tafsir over here.
Yeah, and Niam Grace asked a beautiful question. She camel is a sign of what? It's essentially the same question I had.
Yeah, what is this exactly a sign of for you? A sign of Allah. So she's this she camel of Allah. Okay, so Allah sends down a she camel?
Or it's one of his wives or something?
Allah would marry. I mean, technically, Allah could marry anything, but does he marry a she camel? Interesting. All power to you, Allah. All power to you. All right. Now we go to 1165. But they hamstrung her. So he said, "Enjoy yourselves in your home for 3 days. That is a promise to be believed." But they hamstrung her. So I love the word, the hamstrung. Nick, am I missing something?
No, like you in 65, if you just click the words, it should be pretty well. Again, like I'm not the expert here, you are, but like this should be pretty clear.
Yeah, because in Tafsir Tanwir al-Miqbas, it says here they hamstrung her, so they killed her. So they killed, and she was killed by Qudar ibn Saif and Musta ibn Zahar, who divided the meat on 1,500 homes. Saleh said to them after they killed the Shema, "Enjoy your life in your township. Will come on the 4th day." So he told them to that 3 days. And what is the sign of? You will wake up on the first day with pale faces, Second day, your faces will be red, and third faces, your faces will be dark. And fourth day, wait, why? Why pale, then red,
Oh,
then dark?
because they killed Allah's concubine or camel. I mean,
Camel. Well, no, but why the face turns pale and then red and then dark? Like, it's so weird. It's another silly story, but I find this very fascinating at the same time. It's like as silly as those the biblical stories, right? So it's very like ridiculous. All right, let's 1166. Our chastisement came to pass. Oh wait, no, I'm on the tafsir. My apologies, guys. So they hamstrung her. So I would have not gotten this had I not read the tafsir. That's the funny thing. And you see, it's just a rhyme. Aaron Mughzibun. So the Mughzibun is the same rhyme. And then the rhyme from the previous 62, Al-Aziz. So فَلْمَا جَاءَ أَمَرَنَا تَجِيبًا صَالِحًا وَالَّذِينَ أَمَنْتُ. My Arabic needs some brushing up. So when we came our command, we saved Saleh and those who believed him by a mercy from us and from the disgrace. Indeed, your long Lord is all strong, almighty. So saved Saleh and those who believed in him by a mercy in us. So they just saved him, but what happened? Like the Quran doesn't specify what exactly happened to those people. It just says, oh, we just saved him. But then next verse, I'm looking at the verses and sees those who wronged. Okay, there we go. The thunderous blast from when they became in their homes fallen prone. And the Pickthall says, an awful cry overtook those who did wrong, so that morning found them prostrate in their dwellings. He says prostrate, and then Sahih Internet, and the shriek. So there's a thunderous blast, a cry, and then a shriek. Can't exactly decide. Those who had wronged and they became within their homes corpses fallen prone. Wait, so their homes fell, they're prostrating in another translation, and then they have corpses in their, and even in Yusuf Ali, they have lay prostrate in their homes before the morning. So they were trembling in fear. So, but there's another translation has corpses. So let's read the tafsir as well. So let's see the tafsir. So, and those who did it kneeled. Okay, so Al-Jalalain says, so that they ended up lying lifeless, prostrated in their habitations, kneeled over the knees, dead. Interesting. According to the Sayyid al-Maududi says, according to traditions, that in the current Sinai, Allah delivered them from torment and led them there. There's a mount near Jabal Musa, known by the name of Prophet Saleh, where it is said the people took refuge after the destruction of the people. So not everybody got destroyed. I'm a bit disappointed, Allah. I'm a bit disappointed. I expected better.
Yeah.
Whoops, my apologies. That was my apologies. Let's go. And how many verses do we have for today?
We have 10 until 70.
Until 70, perfect. So we got over, they killed the camel, they got destroyed for it. After 3 days, their faces turned red, pale, red, and dark. Allah is racist. All right, so as if they had prospered therein, no doubt indeed, Thamud disbelieved. Hang on. So we're talking about, now we're talking about Thamud. Okay, Thamud are the people of Saleh. So as if they had never prospered, unquestionably Thamud denied their Lord. Away with Thamud. So away with Thamud. So Bazal Thamud is the
Be
last.
gone, Thamud. Be gone.
And 1169. But didn't they just destroy them? Why are you saying be gone? And okay, and suddenly came on messages, Abraham, they said peace. He said peace.
Yeah,
and
no, I said be gone because they're like, yo, away with Thamud. Away. I'm like, yeah, be gone.
And here it's interesting. It suddenly shifts and suddenly came to our messengers, Ibrahim. Okay, it suddenly shifts the story. I thought we were talking about Saleh and Hud. Like the bad chapter barely talks. We talked about Hud, and then switches to Saleh, and then switches to Ibrahim or Abraham. It's like Abraham, our messengers came unto Abraham with good news. They said peace. He answered peace and delayed not to bring a roasted calf. So Abraham brings them a roasted calf.
aka
And
wheel, I think it is.
is it real? Ah, yes, yes. And but then he saw their hands not reaching it. He felt unfamiliar of them and felt apprehension from them, a fear. They said, "Do not fear. Indeed, we have been sent to the people of Lut, or the folk of Lot, that is, people of Lot." So this is the, I'm guessing they're talking about the three angels that, or the two angels that go to the people of Lot, or Sodom and Gomorrah. So these are angels, supposedly, but it says messengers. Interesting term it uses, messengers. So in the last previous verse, it uses a term. See, it says our messengers, our messengers. It doesn't say angels specifically. And then it never specifies they're angels unless you read the tafsir. So if someone was reading this for the first time, oh boy. And if someone were reading this for the first time, they, they would be like, what are they talking about? And see in the next verse, which we'll cover next time. And his wife was standing and she laughed. Then we gave her tidings of Isaac, and after Isaac of Jacob. Wait, suddenly this shifted. It's like this weird shift, Like we're talking about these three fellows here, these messengers, and then suddenly his wife was standing and she laughed. What is she laughing at? And why is the laugh so important? Also, Nick, you can hear me, right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh,
So,
okay,
yeah,
perfect.
it's because women aren't supposed to be happy.
Yeah, like, why so religious? You are correct on this. If someone was reading this first time, they would believe instantly. I'm not getting it. I'm not getting this. Mind you, I was a Muslim, but yeah, still, even this, I'm reading this after a long time. It's like, I don't get this. Like, we gave a glad tidings of Isaac. So where does...
Well, the hope is that they'd be brainwashed by this time, so they wouldn't really be reading this to actually get it, but more for a poetic sense, right?
Yeah, because if you notice, the Luther, Yobe, I'm trying to find, like, the Arabic. Let's see. So Al-Azizu, then with Jismina, so Jismina, and then Al-Samud. It doesn't exactly, yeah. So this one, it's like Allah forgets his rhymes. Oh yeah, Aziz has the Haniz. Haniz. So the Haniz is the roasted calf, and this Jasmine and Aziz. So okay, so the pronunciation.
Yeah.
Al Aziz.
So Mustafa, Nyam Grace actually brings up a point here as well, which I brought onto the screen. In order to even understand that, you need to read the Torah.
Oh yeah, definitely. You need to read the Torah stories as well. And then yes, so and Lute Qawme Luta, so it's, and then Yaquba. Okay, Qawme Luta and Yaquba. Okay, wal mar'at فعنكم حاكمة as a woman wara Ishaqa Yaquba. Ishaqa Yaquba. Okay, Ishaq and Yaqub. Ishaq and Yaqub rhymes with Qawme Luta. So it's mainly the rhyme sequence, because it's the Arabic rhyme. So if anything, and then yeah, so Sarah laughs because she doesn't believe she will have a child. Okay, so now it's interesting that Sarah, she's laughing. A, what is she laughing at? And B, now it kind of clarifies. Okay, she's laughing because she doesn't believe she has a child. But then the verse says she's laughing first. See here. So she laughs, and his wife was standing, and she laughed. And also, it doesn't specify who the wife is, because in Islamic mythology, there's two wives, Hagar and Sarah. So, again, unless we had read the Bible or the biblical books, like the Torah, in Genesis, we would have not known this story. So if anything, it's very interesting how, like, Sarah, like, there's no mention of the name, but it's like his wife. So you need to specify, like, when there's a claim that this is a clear word of God, it's clear in its Arabic understanding, The Arabic is just rhyming, one. And second, even in the translations, we have 4 different translations open here. And we still, like, we're not giving any specifics. And we're jumping from story to story. So this is how, the Quran is. It's so like how it's structured. Any feedback on that, Nick?
For me, like, this should be more. If this is a book to help with all of reality and all understanding
Yeah.
of all reality, it should be more like a textbook and less like a poem. Because this
Yeah.
isn't. We're not. There's a difference between Homer and the Iliad and the Quran, right?
Yeah.
Homer and the Iliad is a historical book, but it's a story.
Mm-hmm.
So it has every right to be poetic. Same thing with the Mahabharata. They claim that it's true, but at the end of the day, it is a story, not like the Bhagavad Gita. So it can be poetics. But when the Quran or the Bible or the Bhagavad Gita, whatever religious book, it has to focus more on being factually true rather
Mm-hmm.
than being poetic. And when you're losing stuff for the sake of being poetic like this, it makes it hard for people like me who are willing to give it a chance and actually read it to actually understand something.
Exactly. And it's funny too, like, you have all these books, especially the Quran, we focusing here, and they claim to have, clarity. We have clearly, this is the final message for all mankind, and yet this is in the final message. Did I really need to see a repeat of the previous story? Did I need to see that?
Yeah,
And
and
what's
why
the
so brings up a point about that as well.
Mhm. So wait, where's Weisel's point?
Yeah, I put it up on the screen so you
Oh,
don't
okay.
have
You don't have to understand. You just have to have faith. Yeah, it's really like, it's kind of, it's like just following, but you're not. It's like following something so arbitrary. Like, there's nothing for the logical thinker. The logical thinker like myself and yourself. Um, we're trying to like rationalize it, but he brings up a good point. You just have to have faith in it. It's like, what's the difference between yourself and any other faith on this planet, any other supposed man-made faith on this planet? It's it's just it's almost like it's a cult like thinking. So it's I know I'm just running out of words. Like, the relevance. I don't get the relevance of the camel, because how the hell the camel was, the a sign. What did the camel do? Was it a magic camel? And all he says is, "Don't kill the camel." They
Yeah.
kill the camel anyway, and then their faces turn pale, red, dark, and in 3 days, and the 4th day they die. And it's it's such a silly story, but at the same time, it's very like it's bizarre on its own.
Yeah, and like a point for people who say you just have to have like, I know Weisel was making a joke there, but like if for people who say, oh, logic and science gets in the way of religion.
Exactly.
Logic and science gets us to the moon,
Hmm.
but religion causes us to. So logic and science causes us to fight to get to the moon, whereas religion causes us to fight amongst each other. Like it's
Exactly. And if anything, there's also disagreement, as we saw in the tafsir as well, that there's the she camel. There's even in these stories as well that there's some disagreement, or the translations. Some of the translations were a bit different. Like, were they prostrating? Were they dead? Did they run away? A tafsir claimed they ran away after they were destroyed. So the story itself is also not concise, because there's 4 different scholars having 4 different versions or understanding of the same story. So it's not exactly a clear message. If it were clear for all mankind now, and we're looking at 4 different tafsir of scholars who've studied this, who've educated themselves, who spent a lifetime dedicated to researching this religion. And I think that's enough for the Quranic verses for the day. It was a bit bizarre, but next week we'll same time we'll start off with 1171,
yeah.
and then we'll move on from there. We'll look at the Arabic on occasion. But today's topic I actually wanted to focus on was, she camel is a sign of what? Why know what? Sign of what? It's a sign of Allah. Apparently, it was a sign of Allah, and they were not supposed to kill the she camel, and she was killed anyway. And they distributed the meat into 1,500 homes, as one of the tafsirs explained. 1,500 homes. I don't know how he came up with that number. It's weird.
Let's say a family eats a kilo of meat, which is a pretty standard amount. You're telling me there's 1,500 kilos of meat on this camel. Was this camel obese?
I don't know. 1,500, like, how would that? We'd have to do the math later. I think we're overthinking the math.
A camel.
That's a big camel. Yeah.
A camel weighs 1,000 pounds maximum. Maximum. You're talking about like a super obese, steroid roided up camel.
Hey, there might be an ancient form of steroids that Saleh had, and hey, what if that camel was poisoned in a weird way too, like the meat itself? That's why I say 3,000 pounds. And they distributed the meat in 15. That's like 2 kilos or 2.2 pounds. Yeah, so this is 3,000 pounds. Let's divide that by 1,500 homes. That's still 2 pounds of meat, camel meat. I don't think that's enough for a home. No, I don't think so.
No. Bro, I eat 2.2 pounds of meat.
So it's not enough for a home, especially if you have family and kids. Yeah, that's not enough. So I don't know how there it makes any sense. If you even think apply even a little bit of logic, it falls flat right there.
Yeah.
Now,
so yeah, I think we should give like a bit of background on the actual next part of this podcast.
Yes.
The Jizya thing. So essentially, you and I did a few podcasts on my channel, basically talking about various things on why you left Islam, and you had a lot of material to talk about, right? And most of it being Islamic. So if people want to see the intro on that, they can watch those two videos. Not to promote my channel, but like, yeah, it's redundant to say it twice. But this is essentially a continuation of what you were saying on my channel.
Please follow Nick. Follow in the Nick Time podcast. He has some good content.
Well, I don't give a shit if you follow me or not. Like, sorry for swearing, but like, I don't care. It's just if it gets overly redundant, and essentially just to inform people that this is an extension of that discussion that we had before, and that's what sparked the entire thing for us to actually come on and start doing the show again.
All right. Now, in the next section, I think we were talking about this too. We were talking about jizya in Islam, right? You and I, and how we wanted to do a topic on this. And, we have this platform finally to talk about, because this is something a lot of people, it kind of goes, a lot of people are unaware of how disgusting the system of jizya is. So let me share the screen.
So I'll only interject at this point if necessary, but I know you got the presentation anyways, so you can, I'll just let me know if you want me to interject, or if I need to interject somewhere else.
Okay. You can have your I'm also open to your feedback as well if you have any questions or anything like that. But
I'll be asking. Pardon?
Can you see this?
We can see this.
Okay.
Someone can put a comment in the chat as well to see if they can see it as well.
Yeah, if you can see it as well. So, if there's any issues, please let us know. So I'll actually begin this presentation. So it's a section of my overall presentation on why I left Islam. So this is in itself is so pretty much detailed. I also like to give a shout out to the Masked Arab as well, and also I did some research on my end, but definitely a huge shout out to the Masked Arab, who's been on the Gin and Tonic before. He's extremely detailed.
Yeah, I think we can also put this as well, just so his channel in the description as well.
Definitely, I'll just link to his channel. So definitely he has some amazing material, even though he hasn't been posting for a while. As my last chat with him, I actually informed him, hey, I'm actually using some of your material. He said, yes, go for it. Please spread this material. So I'm definitely giving him a huge shout out. Thank you so much. The Masked Arab, one of the best ex-Muslim content posters and YouTubers out there. All right. So
also,
again,
this link, I think the drive link, I can put into the description as well for people who want to see the whole PowerPoint.
okay, yeah, definitely. If they want to see the whole PowerPoint, yes, please put in the drive link as well, so they can actually like look into some stuff if they have any questions. I might actually cover some topics in detail on the channel as well within that PowerPoint. I may keep editing it as well, the more information I find. So I have a lot of content to share with the world. But yes, so let's begin with the jizya in Islam. So the Islamic State, it imposes a jizya on non-believers, and it's in exchange for not getting killed. So, and the Masked Arab puts it pretty neat. He said that jizya is extortion masquerading as a tax. So the jizya is actually imposed on non-Muslims. The dhimma, even though technically the term was originally for the Jews and the Christians living in the Islamic State, it also refers to other non-Muslims who are second-class citizens of the Islamic State. So there was the land tax, and then this was called the poll tax. So this tax is different, and jizya is not just a tax; it's an extra tax on non-Muslims just because they do not believe in Islam. So this is the Quranic verse. I'll actually go to the jizya is, so according to volume 15 of the Encyclopedia of Jurisprudence, it states the following: jizya is what is taken from the dhimmi. It is an amount contracted for the people of the book. It is derived from the word jaza, and it is considered compensation so he isn't killed. So this sounds pretty much like the mafia, if you ask me. People of the book, they refer to as Jews and Christians. So the commandment from the Quran for chapter 9, verse 29 is as follows: fight those who do not believe in Allah, nor on the latter day, nor do they prohibit what Allah and His Messenger have prohibited, nor follow the religion of truth out of those who have been given the book, until they pay the tax and acknowledgement of superiority that they are in a state of subjection. Interestingly, the last sentence, they say, until they pay the tax in acknowledgement of superiority, and that they are in the state of a subjection. So they have to admit to their inferiority. So it's very interesting that Allah imposes a tax on those who don't believe. So it's a very very aggressive means of
yeah, and because they're Muslim, they get away with it. Let's say a Christian says this.
Yeah,
a Christian America says this, like, oh, all immigrants got to pay a tax until they're like in a state of subjection. Like,
yes,
yeah, no, he's not
so
gonna
definitely. Yeah, so definitely, and oh yes, Viceroy of Masked Arab has a jizya video. He goes in much further detail than I do, but yeah, it's a tax to keep your head, definitely. And yes, shouldn't the jizya be paid in humiliation? Now let's go to the what the scholars have said. So Ibn Kathir, he says the following: paying jizya is a sign of kufr and disgrace, and if they do not choose to embrace Islam with willing submission in defeat and subservience, they feel themselves subdued, disgraced, humiliated, and belittled. Therefore, Muslims are not allowed to honor the people of Dhimma or elevate them above the Muslims, for they are miserable, disgraced, and humiliated. The constant use of the word humiliated, disgraced, miserable. So Sahih Muslim recorded Abu Huraira that do not initiate the greeting to the Jews and Christians, and if you meet them on the road, force them to the narrowest part of it. This is why the leader of the faithful, Umar bin Khattab, demanded conditions be met by Christians. These conditions ensured their continued humiliation, degradation, and disgrace. I want to cover this as well. Umar bin Khattab had some conditions that the Christian nation or the Christian people live under during his caliphate. So this is something we would definitely cover in future. So there's the constant demand that they be degraded, disgraced, and humiliated, and yeah, it's so like bizarre. It's like practically absolute discrimination, like, or even reminds you of Nazi Germany as well. Imam Tabari, and this states, jizya is money given to Muslims to save themselves from being beheaded. This is pretty clear. You give the money or you get killed. Al-Razi, in his exegesis, states the person must come offer the jizya on foot, not riding an animal. He hands it in person, seated, hands it to the person seated whilst he is standing. His beard is grabbed and then told to hand the jizya. Once he pays it, he is pushed away by the scruff of his neck. This is what is meant by belittled. This is what Al-Razi says. And now there's a Sufi saint. Again, there's this perception that the Sufi, this is the most peaceful order in Islam. But let's read the most peaceful order in Islam. The honor of Islam lies in insulting kufr and kafirs. One who respects the kafirs dishonors the Muslims. The real purpose of levying the jizya on them is to humiliate them to such an extent that they may not be able to dress well and live in grandeur. They should constantly remain terrified and trembling. It is intended to hold them under contempt and uphold the honor and might of Islam. And the reason I have this little comment, remember that guy, Sufi guy, Nick, it's an inside joke where I posted something and this person accused me of not knowing Sufi Islam. Actually, a few people accused me of not knowing Islam because I didn't study Sufism. And even though I'm posting direct references from their scholars, Quran, Hadith on my Instagram, which got taken down, by the way. Don't worry, I have another Instagram. Anyway.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think this is the guy that we also did the podcast with.
Yeah. So Faiz King, we did the podcast with. So yeah, it's one of those things where they should constantly remain terrified and trembling. And it says they may not be able to dress, so tax them so much that they are not able to afford nice things. What kind of God wants this? What kind of God would want this? And this is actually like economic discrimination as well. You are actually, and it says here, Islam, the honor of Islam lies in insulting kufr and kafirs. Really? Like, do you have to insult kufr and kafirs? And if someone even shows a shred of humanity, he dishonors the Muslims. If this is not an example of a dictatorship, I don't know what is. And Al-Ghazali states, the dhimmi is obliged not to mention Allah or his apostles. The Jews, Christians, Magians must pay the jizya. And on offering the jizya, the dhimmi must hang his head while the official takes a hold of his beard, hits the dhimmi on the protuberant beneath his ear. So in other words, it's the mandible jaw. So he must be slapped onto the mandible jaw and demanded that he give the jizya. So there's different instructions on how to humiliate the non-believer into paying the jizya.
I wonder if what would happen if taxes pay like that.
Right? And here's the argument I hear from Muslims constantly. So it's like they're like, oh, we are charged tax, and you're not humiliated by this. You're not humiliated by paying a tax. You pay the tax because it pays for your services, and it's already charged in your income. And you're not invited to be humiliated like this. So
the government doesn't slap you on your mandible jaw every time you pay tax.
Exactly. And this is from Al-Zamakhshari. Al-Zamakhshari is also one of Zakir Naik's favorite tafsir scholars. He says the dhimmi must
doctor.
He is the medical doctor. The dhimmi must approach walking, not riding. So he's not even allowed to take a car or ride a horse. The taker is standing while the giver is sitting and trembling. The dhimmi is seized by the collar and is told, perform the jizya, and is pushed on the nape of his neck. So he's grabbed by the collar until he pays, he is pushed away. This is a very, and Muslims say, oh, we get to pay zakat. You don't even get to get yourself humiliated like this by paying the zakat, do you? And zakat has an upper limit. And what's funny is that the jizya has no limits. You can charge as much money as possible. So it's funny. Also, thinking clearly, no worries. You got held back. It's okay. But yeah, high thinking clearly. So yeah, so we are on. It's just so funny that So it's that you are constantly grabbed. I think I should what do you call it? Stop the share screen. Stop share screen. Actually, I keep this on. So hang on. All right, wait. Slideshow. Nope. So one version says he's grabbed by the collar. They must hang their head, a hold of his beard, and slapped beneath his ear. And then they should be constantly trembling. His beard is grabbed, told, and then he's pushed away by the scruff of his neck. Is meant by belittled. So there's constant belittling of the subject that's paying the jizya. So would a god really want this, this kind of taxation system?
Apparently so.
And what's funny is that, there's a Muslim claim that I forgot to put this on, and I'll mention this, and it's in the Master Arab also mentioned this in his video, that in his Arabic sources he used, I think it was the Encyclopedia of Jurisprudence, that if the jizya in the jizya, if you cannot pay and you're too poor to pay, you must sell your wives and children into slavery.
Don't you mean employment?
Oh, employment? No, we must sell them to slavery. We must sell them. They're items. They're not going to get unions and benefits and all that stuff. No, get slave. So yeah, that's how low the system of jizya is. So constant. So this is what Muslim apologists will always bring up. Oh, it's the same as zakat. No, it's not. Zakat is obligatory charity. This is a tax, an extra tax upon the non-Muslims for their lack of belief. And what we showed you right now is how humiliating the process of the jizya is. You have to walk. You have to constantly feel subdued, and they make sure that you do not have enough money to buy any nice things. That's because you don't acknowledge the superior, you don't acknowledge the so-called religion of the truth. So the religion of truth requires you to pay taxes in humiliation. No wonder why people converted to Islam. They wanted to stop this humiliation.
Yeah.
So any thoughts, Nick? I think that's I went on a bit of a rant there.
Yeah, no, I think this is why they grew beards in the first. It was required for you to grow a beard from Islam as well. If you don't pay it, they can grab you by the beard.
But keep in mind, Muslims don't get grabbed by the beard. It has to be the dhimma, right? So the non-Muslim has to keep the beard. So
I always assume that then at that point, I would assume that a rite of passage to come in would be to shave your beard because you no longer need it because you're no longer going to get grabbed by it.
Yeah, and keep in mind, even if you don't have a beard, you still get grabbed by the collar. You get grabbed by the collar, and then you're pushed back, and so they can still grab you by the collar. So, and there's no limitation on jizya. There's no upper limit. There's no lower limit that Allah doesn't even specify. So you can charge as much as you want with the jizya. But yes, so.
Now, I have a question. Is there any modern countries that follow Islam, like Saudi and such, that still charge it?
They don't charge the jizya anymore, not to my knowledge at least. So fortunately, there's no countries today that impose the jizya. However, Islamic State, ISIS, did impose jizya, and many groups, terrorist groups, do impose the jizya. So they do, if a terrorist group like the Taliban, ISIS, or Daesh, or Al Qaeda comes to power, they do like to impose jizya on non-believers. Heck, we've even in Pakistan, some Shia Muslims got threats, and Ahmadi Muslims got threats where, if you don't accept Islam, you must pay the jizya, like as threats. So it's funny that it's still used as a threat. Convert to Islam, get killed, or pay the jizya. So you get killed, convert, or pay the jizya. These are the only three options that you have within the Islamic State. And even today, they can, you weaponize this and use it against you. So I think that's everything for jizya today. Do we have anything else for today, Nick?
So it was mainly that presentation that I want to cover, because I knew you did have quite a bit to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
But there was this one video I wanted to do a reaction to, but it is a 45-minute video.
Yeah.
So I think it's probably the wisest, because this is the first episode that we've been on for a very long time. So we'll make this one a shorter one, and starting next week, because we do have more content.
Yeah, more content.
We'll keep it at a more 2-hour discussion.
Yeah.
So
So
on that note, I'll be putting up, here's the Discord for anyone. Let me just put up that in the comment section for anyone who wants to join and discuss. We'll be in the after show to discuss more about it, so you guys can come on there.
All right. And definitely, I would love to speak. I may or may not be on Discord for too long, but would definitely, hey, you guys. Nick is definitely going to be on Discord. He's a great partner in crime. And so I think this is, sorry, Thinking Clearly. We're finishing a little early because it's just our first time. This is sort of like post-test run. So, we're, what do you call it? We have more content. So we'll gather more content for next time. We will try to keep it
at the 2-hour mark.
At the 2-hour mark, because sometimes I feel like, one of the, what do you call it? 2 hours can get a bit longer, but yeah.
But yeah, I just think this was because it was a continuation of what we did previously. There wasn't too much material, but I think for the next, or the brand new topics that we aren't essentially picking up from the middle, will last a lot longer. Yeah, essentially it was a beta test.
Yeah, and also, this is how the Ottoman Empire, 70-80%. Yeah, this is accurate.
Yeah,
relatively accurate. Yes, this was the beat test. I was like, what is a beat test? Am I missing something? All right, guys. I think this is, jump onto Discord, and we'll join you there shortly. And I hope you enjoyed today's show. Now, I apologize in advance if we, either we failed short of your expectations, or we were just short on time today. But thank you so much for joining us today in the latest edition of the Gin and Tonic Show.
Yeah, and thank you so much, Moosestaffah, for picking it up. The show was really great, and I think the audience agrees with me that you're doing a really good job.
Thank you so much, Nick, as well. You've made my I give credit to Nick, the Nick of Time. Great. Like I also I'm very bad with technical stuff, so he's always there to help me out as well. So we keep each other in, and he keeps me on track. He's like making sure that, hey, are you awake? Are you not busy? Do not be busy. So he keeps me on track. He keeps me on my toes. So definitely, Nick is Nick is also like a gym coach too. He's like, make sure you're lifting weights too. So definitely, thank you guys so much.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Allah needs to see your bobs and machines, so like you need to be in shape.
Like Allah needs to clearly see my body. You know, He needs to see my body, how beautiful it is.
Yeah. It's kind of why Mo Hijab took off his shirt the other day.
Right? He took off his shirt and he expresses himself like a WWE wrestler. He's like, "Ooh, come down," and something I want to address next week too. There's so much I want to talk about, but because we had very little time with our lives and we're just taking over the show, so yes, hijab bare chested. Yes, hijab bare chested. So next time we'll cover these interesting individuals in our world, in the Muslim world, and we'll talk more about Islam next week at 4 p.m. Eastern Pacific time, Saturday, or 9 p.m. UK time. So these are the two. These are the times. It was there's a slight shift is because of our work schedule, that is. So we are free on Saturday, and 4 p.m. works better on our end in North America. So that's why we chose this time and 9 p.m. UK time. If it's a slight inconvenience, but we apologize in advance. But yes, so thank you so much, guys, for joining us. Thank you. Join us on Discord.
All right.
Take care.
See you guys.